Hey everyone, Magic Sword here, and this is a re-recording, so we are going to just kind of burn through this as quickly as possible. 2 mana 2/5 Bloodbound Imp. Whenever this attacks, deal 2 damage to your hero. Warlock loves this. This might have seen play just in a regular Zulok deck, but considering all the self-damage synergies Warlock has at the moment, I mean, it's like not running this would be a mistake, right? And we have Dreaded Mount. So you remember Dreadsteed, right? This is, I mean, I just love this idea of putting Dreadsteed back in standard in a limited form, right? So 3 mana, give a minion +1/+1. When it dies, summon an endless Dreadsteed. This is Tamsin's Dreadsteed right here, and it has the same old Dreadsteed text. If you're newer to the game, this is a thing that resummons itself at the end of the turn, right? So that's the end of your opponent's turn if they um, killed it, or the end of your turn if you traded it in, right? So if they kill it, which they basically never will unless they silence it, it gets resummoned at the end of their turn and therefore it can attack on your turn. Very powerful. Right? So, I mean, very powerful might be overstating it. I think that this card could be powerful. I think that in this exact moment, Warlock is not terribly interested in it. I think that's the bigger issue here. And then our next one, our last actual, like, just Warlock class card here, is entitled Customer. This is a handlock synergy card. 6 mana, 3/2. Body basically doesn't matter. Deal damage equal to your hand size to all other minions. Wow. Okay, wow. So this, in a lot of scenarios, is like never going to deal below 6 or 7 damage, right? 6 cards is very attainable, and it's easy to like maintain that and never dip below it, right? 7, 8, reasonable. 9, 10, also possible, but less likely, right? Um, the 6 to 8 range is where this is going to fall most of the time. That is huge, and there aren't too many breakpoints in there. 6 to 7 is kind of a big jump in terms of like how many minions this is clearing, but again, 7's very attainable. So I think that if handlock is viable, this is in its 100% of the time, right? This is core to that idea, but um, or rather, I should say, and I think handlock is the best quest lock. So I mean, just because handlock is the best control lock and control lock is the best quest lock. So a lot of da 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 there, but I think that overall, this is one of the most powerful warlock cards we've seen in a while. Um, you might be wondering, well, what's the rest of the video? It's neutral cards because warlock didn't get too much. Well, it got a lot up front. So we're going to look at some neutral cards that involve hand synergies and other things that Warlock has shown to clearly go for lately. So our first neutral we're going to look at is Encumbered Pack Mule, and people, myself included, love this card because it's a totally unique effect, right? 2 mana, 2/3. When you draw this, add a copy of it to your hand. It's a beast and it has taunt. Those should not matter too much, but they might, right? There are cards that interact specifically with taunt. There are cards that interact specifically with beasts that might be interesting. So my first thought, we looked at SI7 Skulker recently. That's the battle cry that reduces the cost of the next card you draw. Well, that's I believe it will work like this. You just drew two 2/3s for 1 mana because that it should copy the discount, right? Um I mean there's so many ways that this works well, as compared to just running a second 2/3, right? I mean, first of all, you're flooding your deck with kind of crap cards if you do that. But just drawing 1, 2, 3 and getting two of them is huge value. And obviously, I'm loving this in with Warlock because it has huge handlock synergy, right? If you draw this, so again, you kind of have to. Unfortunately, it's a 2-drop that you don't want in your mulligan. Um, but if you draw it, you are increasing your hand size. You're kind of accelerating all the hand related stuff that you want to do. Your mountain giant type cards, right? Like an Etheron, for example. I'm sort of coming around to an Etheron. I think I was a little harsh before, but I think I still prefer some of the other handlock synergies we have currently and have had historically. Um, So Encumbered Pack Mule accelerates that stuff. You can do some really dumb combos. I was thinking about Egwin, the mage legendary that lets you her death rattle like transfers the death rattle and card text to the next thing you summon, or the next thing you draw rather, right? So if you draw this, now two of them have that card text. So you start cycling a second death rattle into your deck, which is so dumb and so good. So, and of course taunt, a cheap taunt. Control decks kind of like that. It helps them avoid some damage early and late, right? So overall, pretty solid card. Probably going to see play in handlock, and I'm sure a million other things we can't even predict because this is such a strange effect, right? All right, our next one is Package Runner, and I'm going to be upfront. I don't like this card. 3 mana, 5/6. You can only attack if you have 8 cards in hand. I mean, look, if you tap on 2, play this on 3, tap on 4, it can attack on 4. Congratulations. That's kind of the lengths you have to go to make this work. And um, I really don't like it. It seems generally these cards that say can only attack, on a condition, they're not very good, you know. Even Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter has a card that can only attack if your hero attacks. Demon Hunter attacks like every turn, and that card does not see play. Conditionally being able to attack is almost worse than not being able to attack at all, because even if you don't attack at all, you're compensated more with your stats. This is just, it's not there. I really just don't think it's there, Um, this is a historically weak effect, and if you're playing it not as a tempo play, not on curve, right on turn 3, it's just not that good either. You don't really care about 5/6s in the late game, right? I just, I really do not think that this sees play, even if Handlock is the best deck in the game. I think this is not part of it. Lion's Guard, however, I have a bit more faith in, right? So this is a 5 mana 4/6 battle cry. If you have 15 or less health, gain +2/+4 and taunt. So, like I said, I think that Control Lock is going to be the self-damaging quest lock as well. And even if it's not an aggro deck, this is a capstone, just like a 6/8, just like bam, right on the board for 5. That's really good as well. It's a sticky minion. Well, it's a so high health that it will stick around probably for at least a turn, even with the taunt, right? Um, and even if it doesn't, well, it just saved all your other minions too, right? So 15 or less health, gain +2/+4. It's really easy for Warlock to get that low, even by turn 5. Think about, your Flame Imps, your Backfires, all those. I think that this goes quite a long way to saving you if you are running the quest, or even if you're just Zoo and you want a big 5-drop, right? Even if you play it on like 6 or 7, it's still good, or you can tap on 7 to get yourself below 15 and then play this, right? There are so many things that make this more flexible than it appears, that I think it probably sees play in um, a lot of different Warlock decks, and maybe even other decks in general. Maybe I'm underestimating it even, right? Um, Overall, though, pretty strong card. A lot of faith, and I want to see it. And here is our last hand card, and it's so much better than Package Runner. I said it. It's just way better than Package Runner. It's a 10 mana 5/4 that costs 1 less and has Rush, by the way. Costs 1 less for each other card in your hand. I mean, let's follow that same logic we had with the Package Runner. So, you play Package Runner on 3, it attacks on 4. Okay. So, you play Goldshire Knoll on 3, right? Or on 4, rather, and it's able to attack on 4. And you don't mess up the rest of your turns by having to maintain your hand size, right? Once this attacks, it's good forever. Um, it's just, it's so good, right? Like, I mean, just the fact that it has Rush, it can attack right away. Being able to just like trade, you can probably value trade playing this early enough, turn 3 or 4, depending on if you have coin. A 5/4 in hand there, just slapping it down. It's an overall good card. At 4 mana, it's worth it. It's well worth it. And you can realistically get it for less than that I mean, potentially it's free in the late game, which is, a 5/4 isn't like super impactful in the late game, but it can be. It's still good, right? It's just not as great as if you play it on like 3 or 4. But I digress. This is definitely going to see play in handlock for sure. There's not a doubt in my mind. So that wraps it up for the Warlock and others showcase here. That was, this is the last class. So we're going to just be going through the neutrals from now on. That's probably going to be 2, maybe 3 videos. I haven't counted exactly how many neutrals are left. But, we've gone over a lot of the legendaries already. So the special effects there are going to be a little yeah, the special, interesting, long-winded takes are kind of done with, is what I'm getting at, right? A lot of these are like, oh, this does this. It's a battle cry that gives you +1/+1 sometimes. I'm like, okay, cool. All right, like it's gonna be a lot of that. Um, I'll try to talk about, hey, this fits in this deck or this genre of deck, but mostly these individual cards will take less time. It's just that there are so many, it might still end up being 2 or even 3 videos, right? Because I try to go definitely under 15, even usually under 10. So subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Tell me in the comments below if you have any strong opinions about Goldshire Knoll versus Package Runner. I mean, I feel like I'm saying like, now this card, awful. This card that's almost exactly the same kind of deal, great, right? So, if you have any strong opinions about my low IQ, go ahead and put them down there too. Leave a like if you liked the video. Go ahead and check out the playlist, and I'll see you in the next one.